Always remember, someone's effort is a reflection of their interest in you. My mind recalled the words I read after waking up. It was a simple sentence, but it inflicted a deep impression on me because somewhere I felt it was said for me. It was written for me. I couldn't help but wander my thoughts around certain someone, my better half, Park Jamin. Park Jamin, a renowned businessman who was known for his sharp business skills and called Demon Noor, was my husband of 2 months. Husband. This word alone managed to send goosebumps around my body. The word, which used to give me butterflies, now gave away nothing but sadness and sting pain at the back of my eyes. He was my husband only on the papers because he never made efforts to actually be one. I barely saw him home in these 2 months. He came home after I was asleep and he left before I woke up. Sometimes I wondered if he even came home because his side of bed always felt cold and empty. I knew nothing about him except his name and profession. Why aren't you eating, dear? Maria's voice broke the chain of my thoughts. Huh? I gaped at her, perplexed. Breakfast? Why did you stop eating all of the sudden? She asked. Her eyes shone with genuine concern. Oh, I'm eating. I forced out a smile and stuffed my mouth with a spoonful of oats. Are you okay, Ryan? You seem a bit off lately, she asked, being worried about my weird behavior. Maria was a sweet lady. She was the caretaker of the house since forever. She was the only company I had in this big, lifeless house. She was the mother I never had. It's nothing, auntie. It's just I didn't have a good sleep. I made a quick excuse. She squinted her eyes, not believing me, but nonetheless nodded. Okay, if you're saying so, but know one thing, I'm always there for you if you want to share your worries. My lips curved upward in a real smile this time, as my heart overwhelmed with warmth and contentment. Contentment of having someone who actually cares for you. I sat in the living room with the fashion magazine in my hands as I flickered through the pages, admiring the pieces of art created by skilled designers. I was engrossed in the magazine until Maria called out for me. When I lifted my gaze to a troubled Maria who stopped in front of me. What happened, Auntie? I felt a furrow forming on my forehead as I got alarmed seeing her sudden distress poise. I need to leave urgently. My sister is hospitalized. Can you send this lunchbox to Jimin's office today? My eyes noticed the lunchbox in her hands. I badly wanted to deny, but the situation was demanding otherwise. Okay, you go to your sister and please don't hesitate to call me if you need any help. She nodded and left. My eyes went to the lunchbox. Do I really have to do this? I didn't have enough courage to face him, that too in his office, with his lunch. I wasn't prepared for this. I held my head, contemplating whether I should go or let him starve. Why was it so difficult for me to be heartless? I stood in front of his office building, his lunchbox tightly clutched between my hands. My mind nagged me to turn my feet and walked away, but I chose to do otherwise. I entered inside, determined to flee away as soon as I delivered him his meal. I looked around, astonished by the amazing interiors of his office, until I recalled my purpose of coming here. I rushed to the reception area. Excuse me? I called out for the receptionist who was crouched down on the floor for I didn't know what reason. Yes, oh Ryan, a familiar face came in my line of vision as she stood upright to her height. Hey Jivu, I smiled at my college friend. I felt nostalgic meeting her after years. What are you doing here? If you're looking for a job, I can help you. I laughed as I saw the same old, always ready to help Jivu. You are still the same. But anyways, I'm not here for job. I'm here to deliver lunch. I lifted the lunchbox to her face level. Oh, did you start working for food delivery? She pointed between me and the lunchbox. No, Jivu, I bring lunch for my husband. I clarified before she could make another senseless assumption. Okay, what is your husband's name? I will show you the way to him. She wiggled her eyebrows. Park Jimin. His name trailed off my tongue smoothly without my knowledge. Oh, Park Ji. Wait, what? I flinched when she suddenly shouted, gaining the attention of the nearby people. You mean Mr. Park, our boss, is your husband? Like you are married to him? Like ring exchange, white bridal dress, a nice food menu, and all everything? She rambled with one breath. Why are you overreacting? It's not a big of a deal that you are making it. I exclaimed. Girl, it is a big deal. You are married to Mr. Park, like the Park Jimin, and you are saying I am overreacting. I need two soju bottles to process this new information. Okay, now she was really overreacting. I sighed. Tell me where is his office. You can continue your act after that. I rolled my eyes when she pinched herself to check if she was dreaming. Top floor, there is only one office, and that's his. By the way, lucky you to get married to everyone's dream man. She teased with a smirk. Yeah, I'm indeed the lucky one. My lips twisted into a small, almost pained smile as I did not try to hide the bitterness behind my statement. I'll leave now. See you later. Bye, Mrs. Park. I paused as she called me by that name. Her words felt heavy. Instead of erupting butterflies in my stomach, they loaded a pressure on my shoulder, a pressure of something ineffable. The elevator door pinged open and I walked outside. My eyes fell on the big brown door ahead of me. I became cautious as I stepped closer to face him. I held the lunchbox more tightly with my sweaty palms. I was nervous and scared at the same time. I stopped in front of the wooden door, pondering over the idea of going in and facing the man who was my husband and the irony, whom I knew nothing about. I raised my shivering hand to knock, but a high pitched, familiar voice fell on my ears. Stop! I stopped and turned around. I saw a tall woman but shorter than me. She was clad in a white see through blouse and an extremely tight pastel grey skirt, which was too short to be called as a formal outfit. Come here, she signaled with her fingers. I mentally scoffed. What does she think of herself to order me like this? But of course, I wasn't here to create an unnecessary drama, so I walked towards her. What are you doing here? And above all, who let you come here? She narrowed her eyes, eyeing me under her judgmental gaze. I'm here to give lunch to my husband. My tone was bland and uninterested. Husband? Whom do you think you are calling your husband? She crossed her arms on her chest, and I knew I encountered a very rude and egoistic girl. No, no, this, I pointed at the door behind me, is my husband's office, and I am here to give him lunch. And now, if you excuse me, I'll finish my task really quick. I sarcastically smiled at her. I watched as her face twisted in anger and she flared her nostrils as if she would eat me raw. But did I care? Absolutely no. I didn't give a damn about her. I just wanted to go home and brew a herbal tea for myself. I already had enough for the day. I didn't want another scene to add in my cinematic life. You. She was about to throw some curses at me, but an icy, cold voice echoed in the silent ambience, sending a shiver to my spine. What is happening here? My breathing fastened as I felt his presence behind me. I stood at my place numb. My gaze was still stuck at the arrogant woman who was now smirking at me, as if insulting me through her eyes. Her demeanor changed from being to worried as her gaze shifted behind me. Sir, this girl is saying you are her husband and she even brought lunch for you. Can you believe this type of cheap girls can go to this extent to have your attention? We need to increase our security. She batted her eyelashes. I heard his footsteps coming closer. He stopped beside me. I observed him from a sidelong glance to find him already gazing at me with his dull eyes. I gulped and twisted my hands so tight to the point that my nails dug inside my palms. I was nervous, anxious. My stomach churned, making me feel nauseated. My heart was running a marathon, and I almost stopped breathing when he took a step towards me and stood a few inches away from me. Who are you? I heard those words slipping through his tongue, and I swore I had never heard something so depressing. I was numb on my spot. The things around me slowly disappeared as I craned my neck towards him. My eyes searched for his. I gazed through his eyes, trying to figure out if he was joking, but all I found was dead seriousness in his eyes, on his face. I stayed on my spot as I heard a mocking laugh, not from someone else, but from my subconscious mind. At least you know his name, Ryan, but your husband doesn't know you who you are. Just leave from here, or you want to get insulted more. I laughed internally at my pathetic self. Here I brought lunch for him, being the generous wife I was, and this was what I got as a return gift. Always remember, someone's effort is a reflection of their interest in you. I repeated the same sentence in my brain. Who are you? He repeated with the same dry, monotonous tone. This time, I felt a pressure building at the back of my eyes. I stared at him with a look of sullen resentment. When I whispered with shaky voice as I tried to hold back the wetness that pooled in my eyes, I observed as a look of distaste took over his face. Parkwan, that's your name, he corrected. His voice was calm and authoritative. Parkwan, I subconsciously iterated after him. He nodded and shifted his gaze from me to the woman in front of us who was confused after witnessing the negotiation between us. Did you heard what she said? He spoke, stuffing his hands inside his pocket. Her name is Park Wayan. I know. The woman here beside me is my wife, and you dare to call her cheap. The first thing I want is your resignation letter on my desk within 10 minutes and apologize to my wife. Now. I stared at his side profile as he ordered the side woman with his dominant voice. My eyes averted to her who was now looking at the words of tears. The attitude was long gone. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't know you are our boss wife. Please tell him not to fire me. She pleaded. Sir, I didn't know she is your wife, and nobody is allowed at this floor without permission. So I was just trying to stop her. She tried once again to save her job. Exactly. When no one is allowed here, then what are you doing here? And then you call her names when she clearly told you she's here to give me lunch. He knitted his brows. A frustrated look took over his features, yet his voice was serene. I I came to steal important documents about the new project. This is why you were paid 1 million. She gulped and stepped back as a look of horror covered her face. Resignation letter or prison. Choice is yours. He turned around facing you. How would anyone know she is your wife? You never introduce her, and you spending your whole day at your office marked you don't share a good relationship with her. She was devastated that she failed her task, but she didn't want to leave empty handed, and of course, she decided to hit at the weak nerve. She was adamant to ruin his life, if not professional, then personal. Her words felt as a pang of reality on my heart. The wetness was back at the edge of my eyes. I gulped and tried to blink away my tears. I tried to, but this time my own eyes betrayed me, and an unfaithful tear rolled down my cheeks. I was quick to wipe it off, but too late. He had already seen it. He saw me being vulnerable, the side I never wanted to show in front of anyone, not even him. Before I could started crying ugly, I handed over his lunchbox to him and ran away from there. I stopped when I was out of his office building, and I turned back to see if he was there, but as usual, I was alone. I chuckled and wiped my tears that were flowing continuously. I couldn't believe I was still expecting him to come behind me. I was surely stupid or pathetic, but was it bad that I was expecting things from my own husband, that I was keeping hopes in our relationship that hadn't even started yet? Or was it wrong to anticipate to feel loved by my someone else? Some people will say that self love is important. You don't need someone to love you, you should love yourself. Everything aside, having a loving partner or feeling loved by someone else is a different feeling, completely different from self love and all. I was done for the day. I just wanted to go home. I turned my feet away and walked towards my car. I hopped inside and drove away to home. No, to his house because we don't share a home.